that these are supposed to be hard to breed. So imagine our surprise when we had a bunch of little of eggs laid, and then a bunch of little babies born.
Wow.
And they're so cute.
Oh my gosh. You really handle these well, I have to tell you. I can tell that you are a lizard whisperer.
I've been doing it for a while. You get used to them. But these guys are just adorable.
Wow.
And these were hatched here. They were bred here. They were hatched here. And so we've raised them up here. So these guys have been here since they were born, which makes them really used to people, relatively speaking. This little guy's going to be sitting here all cooperative.
Now, once they hatch, then you remove them from the parents?
We actually don't leave them in the cage, ever.
Right.
You don't want to leave the eggs in the cage, because the cages just aren't set up well enough usually for most of them to incubate in there, because we keep them clean. We're always messing with it. Reptile eggs, you have to leave stationary in the exact place that they were laid. If you move them, for all of them actually, for most reptiles, the babies within the first day that they're laid, the baby reptile fixes itself to the side of the egg and uses the bubble of air at the top for respiration, basically. So if you move them, they drown. So you can't move them once they've set in one place. So we set them up in an incubator that we keep hidden in back. Set them up in an incubator, leave them until they hatch, and then voila, you got baby animals. And then we set them up in a cage.
Right.
And these guys, if you look, we've got baby captive bred fire skinks hatched 826 for our notes. You can see how much smaller they are. So these guys won't be offered for sale until they're a couple more weeks old, just because we want to make sure that they're well started enough that if for somebody new to them to take them home, they're not going to have any issues.
Right.
So they're so cute. They're big old eyes.
They are funny. Now, where are these normally, where's their normal habitat? Are they?
They're from Africa. They're going to be from East Africa. There's even a population that's in Madagascar, which is a little bit differently colored, but these are from mainland Africa. They're one of the more common species as far as the pet trade goes, but they're really pretty. They're colorful. I've got some at home that I have. Actually, I've ended up buying the parents of these because I like them so much.
Oh wow! And how big do these get?
Not too big. Like this
not
big
too
for an adult.
Okay.
So they're moderate size. They're not too bad.
Okay. Do you kind of educate people when they're coming in about those things, like you need to stay calm and how to approach them? Do you give that? Wow.
Yep, we try.
You are confident.
Well, this is what I have at home. This is what my big adult is. I breed these as well.
Oh, wow.
So I'm pretty used to them. This is actually kind of a smaller adult. But this
healthy looking.
Yeah. They all got fed yesterday. This is an average size for an adult ball python. This is usually a good sized snake for the beginner.
Okay.
Just because it's big enough that you can easily hold it, and it's slow enough that you're not going to have to do a whole lot. And for the size, they actually don't require too big of a cage. I mean, a cage like this, which is 3 foot by 2 foot deep by 18 tall, is plenty big enough.
Okay.
They would be okay with that.
Now, if they have a bigger cage, will they get bigger because of the cage? No?
That's a myth. That's a really common myth. Also a myth for fish, by the way.
Oh,
I used to work with fish before I worked with reptiles. A reptile, and that's one of personally, I'll bust this myth for you, my biggest pet peeves is that you put a reptile into a little cage, you're not going to keep it small, you're going to stunt it, and then eventually you're just going to end up with a big animal in a little cage. It's kind of like putting a kid in a closet or a dog in a closet.
Okay.
It's not going to stop growing. You're just going to have a big animal in a little space.
Right.
And the saddest thing is that if you keep them in there anyway, they end up deformed. One of the saddest things I've seen was a big adult monitor that somebody just kept in a 2 foot square cage.
Right.
This monitor grew up in this cage, and as a result of living in this, a 4 foot animal living in a 2 foot square space, it ended up growing up with a kink in its spine in the exact shape of the corner that it was always having to lay in. And that was just sad. It was so sad. So there's no reason. If the animal's getting bigger, too big for the cage, either just sell it, bring it in here, give it away. You just give it a bigger space, because it's not going to stay smaller. It's just going to grow and get deformed.
Right.
See him looking at me. They're smart. They can hear me talking. They know that I was just in there. So now they're sticking their little faces out to see what's going on.
Right. Oh, look at that. And they also know that you do represent food, right? I mean, they know that there's the people that feed us. Do they make that connection, do you think?
They can. If you use your hands, if you're involved a whole bunch when you're feeding them, like you take them out and play with them and then put them away and feed them.
Right.
Yeah, you're going to get associated with food, which you really want to avoid.
Avoid, right.
Because these are very simple animals. If they see that hands before food, handling before food, well, you just handled me, you just messed with me, I'm going to get fed now. So you end up with a problem when the animal gets a little antsy and you've got it out, hands, they're going to just bite these. Maybe food's going to come if they bite it.
Right.
Snakes are much simpler. All you got to do, open the door, put the food in, close the door. Your hands are never involved, you're done.
Right.
Lizards, it's a bit harder. Something like
you guys got a wonderful display of products here.
Yes. These are the big crickets. I'm sure you would. Like this tegu, for example.
Oh my gosh.
This one will bite your hands because it's what you're kind of used to. Which is don't you dare. But you see him cruising around. He knows that we bring food, but we've been really careful about the way we offer it. So I am really lucky and he's not charging me right now. But he'll go over there, he'll smell it because these have a distinct odor. And you go, ooh,
wow.
These are edible. But you can target train them to where they're used to eating out of a specific place, a specific plate. You can get them used to a habit.
Right.
At the zoo, a lot of the times with Komodo dragons, what they'll do, and for bigger monitors, you can actually teach them to hit a target, like a white ball on a stick. They'll hit that, and then you feed them. You can clicker train them. They're just so smart, and people don't often enough get to see that aspect of them. A lot of animals are surprisingly intelligent, and reptiles are no exception. The monitors especially learn people, they learn routine, they learn, like this guy knows, we always feed him on this side. Right. So when we open the cage and you start thumping him, if he's hungry, he comes over and eats right out of it.
Right.
Let's see if somebody else will be more cooperative. I tried you with crickets, Mr. Painted-A-Gama. See if you like these. No? No fun. That's no fun.
They are funny, aren't
they? Lizards especially will respond to behavior, to people, to affection. I keep blue tongue skinks at home. And they come up, they'll beg for attention. Like these guys here are all just pacing.
Yeah,
seeking
I'm amazed. It's so interesting.
Everything has its own routine, what things that they like.
Yeah, a desert. Yeah.
No, he's from the South Africa. This little guy is a captive bred.
Oh, let me see.
These guys come in, and
I love turtles. That's just I had box turtles as a kid, and I just loved them. Yeah,
these are Russian tortoises. These are one of the more common pet species of tortoises. They are actually one of the easiest species to keep too, just because they're so durable.
Right.
Set them up pretty simply. They can even live outdoors here if you give them a little warm house to go into and hide when the weather's not as good.
Right.
They're super personable. Walk around, truck around, do tortoise stuff. Easy to sex. They also learn who feeds them, so they'll beg. They'll follow you around when they know it's you that feeds them. They'll just follow you around.
Oh, that's funny.
They'll eat whatever you offer them. They're just Russian tortoises. A lot of the desert species of tortoises are really personable. Not too bright. Like him, he's getting stuck under that piece of wood back there. He's
just like, well, maybe this will work. His cute little face. Let me see the little face. That is adorable.
The guy that bred him, because he's captive bred, and every so often with captive bred animals, especially the tortoises, they'll have shell deformities. So he's got a bit of an underbite. As long as you give him hard food to eat and the little blocks of calcium to chew on, and then a good vet that can keep it filed down, it's not going to hinder him, but it is going to be a lifetime kind of commitment thing.
Right.
And he also has this extra scoot here. These are called scoots.
Okay.
And so what's supposed to happen is you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 going down the middle, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 going down each side, but he's got an extra one.
Oh.
So that's a deformity that's often just a result of incubation temperatures.
Now, is it true that those also tell age on those, or is that a myth?
No, because this guy is, I just put my finger in poop.
Yeah.
Because he is only a couple years old. This one is probably about 4 or 5 years old.
Oh.
But if you look at him, They're almost the same size. They're scoots. I mean, this one's got a few more wrinkle lines on it, but that's no guarantee of age.
Right.
Because when you look closely at him, the only reason you can't see these is because he's been in captivity, so he hasn't been as weather worn.
Okay.
So it's just, that's a pretty common myth. That's
Right.
just
How would you age a turtle like this? How do you?
Can't.
Can't?
Nope.
So these are just estimates from what you know about them.
Yep, it's based on size. A tortoise that's about this big either had a really good 2 years or a really bad 5 years, or a tough 5 years. You know, when a tortoise, Russian tortoise like that, females could get about this big. It takes them about 5 to 10 years, and it depends on diet, temperature, things like that. All reptiles are like that. People ask us all the time, how old is it?
Right.
It's this big.
Right.
That's what I can tell you, is that it's this big. I don't know for sure what the age is. Like a ball python like this that we just had out, that particular snake might be 3 years old, or it might be 10.
Right.
Once they hit close to adult size, that's about the best you can do. You're not going to know for sure just how old they are with any kind of exact measurement.
Okay. I'm learning all kinds of stuff. I'm very educated this morning.